M&A questions will often come up during a case interview, either as a primary topic or as a component of a broader case. Now, when Disney bought 21st Century Fox for $71 billion, a huge sum, they used the exact same decision-making approach that you will need for M&A case interviews. And today, I'm going to show you the 5-step M&A analysis approach that will get you offers at McKinsey, BCG, and Bain. Now, here's the thing. Every acquisition decision follows the same logical progression. If you master this 5-step approach that I'm going to talk to you about, you will be able to handle any M&A case variation they throw at you. Before diving into the 5-step approach, let's understand why M&A deals happen. And there are 3 core drivers that explain every acquisition. Now, driver 1 is accelerated growth. Build it yourself in 5 years or buy it today. Google didn't spend years building video infrastructure. They bought YouTube, and with that came instant creator network, content library, the operational know-how to manage content as well as monetize it. Driver 2 is competitive defense. Sometimes buying competitors is better than fighting them. Facebook, for example, didn't outcompete Instagram and WhatsApp. They eliminated the threat by acquiring them. Driver 3 is business transformation. Fundamentally changing your business model, fundamentally changing what you do. When Disney bought BAMTech's streaming technology, they were not looking for growth or defense. They were looking to transform themselves into a streaming giant with Disney Plus, ESPN Plus, and Hulu. So understanding which driver applies here in this M&A situation will shape your entire analysis. So let's dive into the 5-step M&A approach that I'll be taking you through. Step 1, clarify the strategic intent. Your first move when the interviewer gives you an M&A case situation isn't structuring, it's clarifying. Ask, before I structure my approach, could you clarify the primary strategic objective of the client? Is this about entering new markets? Is it about defending a current position? Or it's about transforming the entire business model? This question alone will put you above 80% of candidates who rush into generic framework. The answer that the interviewer gives you to this particular question, the strategic intent he talks to you about, growth acquisition, focus on market opportunity. If it's a defensive move, talk about competitive threat, assess the competitive threat, assess the competitive landscape. If it's a transformation play, look at the capability gaps. Step 2, quantify the success metric. Once you know why are we doing this M&A transaction, establish what success looks like. And here you need to get specific. If the goal is ROI, ask the interviewer, what is the acceptable ROI target? If the goal is revenue synergies, you need to ask, what revenue uplift do we need to justify going ahead with this transaction? If the goal is market share, what market position are we targeting? I acknowledge that some goals aren't quantifiable, like diversifying revenue streams. As much as possible, try to attach or suggest targets to the interviewer where possible, because then your analysis becomes much more targeted. If the interviewer says good returns or good profits, stop him there and ask for specifics. Good doesn't mean much. Good means one thing for one company and the other thing for the other company. Step 3, build your custom framework. So now you structure your approach, right? And typically, in an M&A case situation, there are 5 key criteria that help you decide whether the client should go ahead with the acquisition decision or not. Criteria 1 is market attractiveness. Is this a good pond to fish in? Right? Is this a good market to get into? So evaluate the size and the growth rate. Is the market big and getting bigger? Profitability pools, where the money is. Competitive dynamics. Can we win this particular market? Never skip the market attractiveness, even if both the companies are in the same industry. A US beer brand buying a Canadian beer brand is still making a market entry decision. So therefore, assessing the market is important. Criteria 2 is target company quality. Are we buying a gem or are we buying junk? 3 dimensions help you assess this. First is current performance. The revenues of the target company, their profits, their market position, and not only the current performance, the future potential of the target. the growth trajectory expected, the competitive position that we can take in future. Also the strategic assets that we will get access to, technology, brands, talent, patents. The key insight here is, let me tell you, you're not just buying what exists today, you're buying tomorrow's potential. Criteria 3 is synergies. Does 1 plus 1 equal 3? So here what you should be doing is first assess revenue synergies, cross-selling to combined customer base, for example, geographic expansion opportunities, enhanced pricing power. Then you look at cost synergies. How much cost will we save by eliminating duplicate functions? How much will we benefit by procurement sale advantages? How much we can cut due to operational efficiencies? Let me also give you a reality check because I worked on a lot of post-merger integration projects. Most companies are able to realize only 60 to 80% of their projected synergies. Once we have done this, assess the market, assess the target company, looked at the synergies, then we go into criteria 4, which is financial viability. Here we are assessing, does the math make sense? Does the expected financial gain, or let's say the return on investment, justify the acquisition price? How long will it take for us to break even on the acquisition price? After this comes the criteria 5. Here we look at the integration feasibility and the risks. Can we actually pull it off? Do we have the capability to pull it off? Integration typically destroys 30 to 40% of the deals. So assessing integration risk is critical. So here you assess cultural compatibility, different working styles, how will we integrate? Talent retention risk, key people leave, how do we plan to retain them? Customer stability, will customers defect during transition? Will they leave us during transition? System integration, are we on compatible technology? Will it be easy to unify the platform of these two companies? And then finally, the opportunity cost. Remember, every dollar spent here could be invested elsewhere. So what is the opportunity cost? Are there better investments for the client to make? Step 4, conduct the deep dive analysis. You can't analyze everything in 30 minutes. So prioritize the case navigation or the case analysis based on the strategic intent. Strategic intent, remember, is the first thing that you ask the interviewer as a clarifying. So if the intent is growth acquisition, you could deep dive on market expansion. If the intent is defensive acquisition, you will focus on competitive landscape. You'll focus on what is the competitive threat and whether acquisition will help us manage that competitive threat. If it's a transformation acquisition, you can assess what is the capability gap to move to the new business model and whether this acquisition will help us bridge that capability gap. And not only that, if we are looking at a transformation, you need to also assess what will be the technology integration complexity, what will be the talent retention criticality. Because when you're moving to a new business model, you're likely buying this company for their technology or for their talent. The other thing to remember here is always quantify. When you're doing synergy analysis, it should never be about significant synergies. It should be a precise number. Say 50 million in synergies within 2 years. Step 5, deliver your recommendation. When you're delivering your recommendation, structure your conclusion in 3 parts. Part 1, clear answer. I recommend we proceed or pass on this acquisition. So there has to be a clear answer. Never hedge. Take a position. You're a consultant. You are paid for your point of view. You're not paid to say it depends. Part 2, provide the supporting pillars. So you could say 3 reasons support this recommendation. First, the market opportunity. This is a $10 billion market growing at 15% annual. Positions us for long-term growth. Second, synergy potential. We have identified 200 million in annual cost savings and 100 million in revenue uplift. Third, strategic fit. Their AI capabilities fill a critical technology gap and also help accelerate our digital transformation by over 3 years. Part 3, risk mitigation and next steps. You could say something like key risks include cultural integration and customer retention. And then you talk about the next steps. For example, you could say, I recommend we conduct a more detailed due diligence on the technology assets as well as the customer contract analysis before we go ahead with the acquisition. This 5-step approach handles any M&A case. Pharma buying biotech, banks acquiring fintech, or any other industry M&A case situation. This approach remains constant. Only the industry context may change. Now remember, first understand why, understand the intent, then quantify what success looks like, then systematically evaluate using the 5 key criteria, and then prioritize analysis based on the strategic intent, and finally make a clear recommendation. Now, practice this approach until it becomes instinct. Only then your structured thinking will shine. Only knowing this approach will not help. Drop your toughest M&A case interview in the comments. Follow me for more insider tips and strategies to break into top-tier consulting firms.